I might as well just start and jump in. So, as you know, I'm Jason. My surname is Robert, in case you didn't know that. And I'm actually born and bred in Cape Town, at the bottom of Africa, from all the way down the corner. And I grew up there most of my life. I studied there. And most recently, I decided that I would like to explore the world and see what it's like to work and live in another country. And I thought Auckland would be a great place to start. Well, specifically more New Zealand. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get a job at Fletcher Building, where I'm currently the project manager for our innovation team. And the best way to sort of describe what it is that I do is we take these ideas and we turn them into reality. Really easy way to sort of understand what it is that I do. We look at lots of ideas and assess them and see if we can turn these into practical solutions. And so before I got here, there's a bit of a backstory into my career. It didn't all start off like this. So as you are today in school, perhaps, and I was also in school many years ago. And one of the subjects I enjoyed much was woodwork, which perhaps is called material technology for you guys. And this is one of the subjects that I really enjoyed. There was maths and biology and science and all the others that I did. I wasn't really good at those. I didn't really care too much for them. But woodwork was just my place. I just loved it. I could work with my hands. I actually didn't even feel like I was in school. And I managed to get through school. I managed to pass. But at the end of the day, I needed to decide what I wanted to do with my life, or what did I want to do after I left school. And so, with the love of woodwork, I could, I can make furniture for a living, but it wasn't really exciting at the time. So I thought, what else could I do? And one of the first things that sort of came to my mind was I could be a pilot, and specifically a fighter jet pilot. I just love the idea of flying really fast in this awesome looking plane. But I soon realized that this is quite an expensive career to get into. And often as a pilot, you tend to just fly commercial planes and not necessarily the fighter jets that you tend to see in the movies. So I kind of gave that one a bit of a pass. I then thought about photography. At the time, I really enjoyed film and photography. And I thought, this is an easy one to get into. I probably don't even have to go to university. But again, reality sort of sunk in, and I was like, am I actually going to make money out of this? And then I was getting a bit of peer pressure from everyone. And I was like, maybe I should just keep this as a hobby for now. I then thought about architecture. And one of the reasons why I thought about architecture was during woodwork, I really enjoyed drawing. And I thought, well, this would be great. I could just draw as a full-time career. And I came very close to actually doing this until I heard about an open day at our engineering, at the engineering facility at one of the universities that I wanted to study at. And I was just blown away. There was just so much different fields. It was just so interesting. There was electrical, mechanical, civil. And the one that I really got stuck on was civil engineering, because it just had so many different fields. And the specific field that I liked was structural engineering. And I thought to myself, I'm going to build the next skyscraper. And that's what sort of stuck in my mind. And as they say, the rest is history, right? So I did my years, I got a job, and I didn't design skyscrapers. I ended up making recipes specifically for concrete, so the things that skyscrapers are built out of. Now, at first, it doesn't sound really exciting, but over the years, I got really good at what I did, and I quite enjoyed it. And the proudest moment I had was, typically I would on my way home and I would see this truck with all these products on the back. And it would just make me so proud knowing that I was responsible for the recipe of that concrete and the quality of that concrete, and making sure that it's strong enough to send to a client where it's actually going to be used to expand our infrastructure and make our world a better place. And that's really this, and just seeing this on a day-to-day basis was something to be really proud of. But with being in a STEM career, you don't necessarily have to be all involved in the calculations and the technical side of things. You can also be creative. And one of the things that I quite enjoyed was I came up with a concrete clock. And this was just something that I did on the side that I thought would be fun to explore. And I happened to make a bit of money out of it, which is quite nice to have. And I think the one thing also about a STEM career is that you realize that everything that around us is actually the reason why all these amazing things around us happen is because of those in STEM careers. So just think about the cell phone in your pocket, or the car that your parents drive, or the car that you might be driving. or the rockets that we send to space. These are all around today because of people in STEM. And one of the things that you can think about as well today with the COVID-19 and the coronavirus being around, problems like these can be solved through people in the STEM careers. So coming up with vaccines and problems like climate change, those are all going to be solved through STEM careers. And so if I think about sort of day to day, what is my skills that I use, as being in this environment as an engineer? And I think one of the things that comes to mind, that's probably the one I use more than once a day, is definitely problem solving. And problems can be super complicated to extremely easy, and they could be devious at times. So for example, one of the big problems I could be struggling with would be, how do I test $1 million machine without spending $1 million? Or how do I get someone to sign this piece of paper so I can go ahead with this project? And funny enough, often it's the piece of paper signing that's way more difficult than the previous problem. And a good way to look at these problems, and the reason why I say they're devious, is because until you start asking the question why, problems could be more trickier than they appear. And I'll give you an example. So for example, a customer is complaining because he didn't get his product on time. And you ask the question, well, why didn't he get his product? And you realize, well, a machine broke down during that month. So you ask the question, okay, why did the machine break down? Because one of the nuts came loose during production. Okay, so that's the problem. Well, if you ask why again, you realize, well, why did the nut come loose? Oh, the guy didn't tighten it correctly. So why didn't he tighten it correctly? Well, there was this thing where he tightened it, but there was not really a guideline as to how tight it should be. It just needed to be tight. So you can quickly see how a problem of a machine breaking down is actually really a problem about there being no specifications how to tighten the bolts correctly on a machine. And hence I say they could be devious. And that sort of leads into the second one. The skill that I probably use most is communication, both verbally and written. And I use this every day. I'm using it right now to communicate my message to you. And I would suggest that the sooner you get good at this, the better and easier your life gets, because you're just going to be using this every single day of your life. And probably one of the most important ones is teamwork. I think we can all get specialized and really good at what we do, but without a great team, you can't really make great things happen. Think about all the great companies and businesses out there today. It wasn't done by one single person. It's always done with a team. And it's always a win-win situation. So a win for you is going to be a win for your team, and vice versa. And so coming closer to the end of my journey that I wanted to share with you today was, there was always this one thing that I think about when I was your age, what sort of wish I knew? And so the one thing was definitely that I didn't have to be good at maths and science. And I say this because I was terrible at maths and science in school, and probably because I annoyed my teachers or I wasn't interested in it. But when I started studying civil engineering and I got into structural engineering, the maths was arguably a lot more difficult. But for the first time, I was actually getting A's and I was really enjoying it. And I think part of that was because I was enjoying what I was doing and I could connect the dots. I could see how this maths and science contributes to solving these complex structural problems. But the other thing that I sort of wish I knew was that I'll be allowed to explore. And I say that in that I really enjoyed my engineering career and still enjoying it today. But I often think to myself, well, what if I just spent some time exploring electrical engineering a little bit, maybe spent a month or two shadowing someone, or robotics or computer science, any one of those things. Who knows, I might have actually found something that I enjoy even more there. And so it's all in well doing something that pays a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you've got to be doing something that you enjoy. And so, because if you can do that, success and everything else just follows naturally. And so I think about this, one of my favorite YouTubers, Derek Miller, and he used to be really into photography and film back when he was young, at your age. And this is what he wanted to do for a career. And he tried submitting videos and trying to get into the industry, but it just wasn't happening. And he eventually fell into a STEM career where he became I think he's studied physician, I can't remember, physics, I think it was. And he became really intelligent. What he really enjoyed was teaching people about the courses that he did and about the science and the world, kind of like Bill Nye, the science guy. And so later in his career, he's became a really famous YouTuber. And so he's taken what he really enjoyed back in the days, which was film and photography, and kept that with him. And he's combined it with his STEM career and created a really successful career on YouTube. And so this is sort of just to say that you can get involved with STEM and in all the exciting things that it associates with, but also still enjoy things that you love doing.